On this episode of Screen Geeks, we're going to talk about the first images from the new Masters of the Universe Revelation. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Screen Geeks. It is the Geek Dad Life program that talks about all things on screens. And with me is Vesper and some other guy. Was that Vesper?
Yeah, that was Vesper.
Is a good friend, Ralph Appa. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. How are you?
I am doing all right today. Yes, Otis the Bulldog. Oh God, looks like they're gonna push He-Man to the side in this show. Well, hey, let's see. Let's see what happens. I don't know. I don't think it's the side.
Are you pushing He-Man aside? You've done like He-Man.
No, I think maybe Otis is talking about, maybe he thinks it's not going to be much He-Man in this new show. We'll talk about that tonight. Okay. All music fans here, Thursday Night Football. I mean, Toy Talk. Well, remember, we'll talk about the toys on Toy Geeks. But today we're mainly going to talk about the new show coming out on Netflix and all the details that we're released today. First images, we're going to look at all of the images, share our thoughts. We will definitely talk about the new images of the toys with John as well. I'm sure John will share his thoughts here too. But Ralph is also a He-Man fan and
right.
Excited to talk about it as well. Weird and Fantastic Toy Adventures is here. Obviously says, I'm looking forward to seeing this new cartoon first before I buy any toys based on it. But the toys look okay. We finally got clear images of those toys. They do look pretty darn good. Dartherian is here. Good evening, Geek Nation. Geek Nation. Makes me think of Douche Nation from Parks and Rec. Diecast Fly, how you fellas doing? I think I'm doing all right. How you doing, Ralph?
Doing great.
Adam Smedberg is here. Good evening. Adam, good to see you. Jay Griffiths is here. I think this looks so freaking good. Classic characters with a 2000X twist. Love it. I think that's a really good description. So excited for that. 2000X vibes for sure. Indeed. I'm sticking with my Motu Origins. I think that's fine. Chris Bather, good day, fellow Toy Geeks. Yes. Remember, this is Screen Geeks, though, but it is Masters of the Universe.
I mean, I like toys, and I like He-Man.
PD Dubs is in the house. Heyo, PD Dubs. Good to see you, my friend. Greetings and salutations, Jay and John. Damn that. The He-Man crossover is confusing people tonight, Ralph.
Right.
Right. And Screen Geeks. There we go. Hello, Geeks. Gold Digger is here. Elias Angelias. Bring those new Motu on, boy. Pop actor. John looks different. Yes.
Is this what it's like on Sundays?
Well,
so many more people here for toys than screens.
Yes. Here we go. Ralph rules. There you go. See?
Oh, Trent's awesome. Trent listens to Invincipod in his Tesla.
Ralph, Jim, Pete. Must be the hat. Yes. Cactus Cooler.
It's my new
West Coaster. You know Cactus Cooler. It's one of my favorites.
I love Cactus Cooler.
Did they have a Cactus Cooler Zero though? I don't really drink sugar anymore.
Did you ask me this recently?
I did. You showed me this hat after the show.
Oh, okay. That's right.
If you are used to seeing Toy Geeks, which is on Sundays at 9:00 on Geek Dad Life, we do Screen Geeks Thursdays at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. Where instead of toys, we talk about TV shows and movies and stuff like that. So, welcoming to all of the people that are used to the Toy Talk tonight. So clearly,
yeah, there's a lot of new faces for me.
The YouTube algorithm is like, He-Man? Okay, let's show it to people.
Cool. Next week, we're going to talk about Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters, which we do every week anyway.
Unrelated Motu, is there anything considered a definitive version of the kaiju movies you guys watch on Kaiju Pod? Well, let's say that for a second. We should get into the main topic here first, but we'll save that thought, Jay. Pop Actor, I thought it was Sunday. It definitely feels that way because it's a He-Man talk. How do we do it? Riley Bob is here. Dartherian, there is no screen, only toys. And his best. Oh, Zuli, you're nuts now. Woohoo! All right. TMNT. I love TMNT.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into it. Today, finally, it's been like a bajillion years since this show was first announced by Kevin Smith, right, Ralph? I feel like it's been forever.
But I mean, that's because Kevin Smith likes to announce his stuff like right off the bat.
It's true. It's true.
Like, doesn't he have a Howard the Duck show or something?
I don't know.
We also talked about years ago, and like he was working on a Fletch show and a Buckaroo Banzai show. Like, where's the Small Rats show? Like, he gets so excited he has to tell everybody about it, and a lot of those things just go away, and we don't think of it. But this one actually looks like it's happening.
I know. I think it was at not last year's. Holy moly! It was the last time there was a PowerCon in person. I believe they announced, or Kevin Smith was there, and they kind of announced doing the show. So that was 2019. Obviously got delayed, I would guess. Maybe it just takes that long to do an animated series. It's now we have an official date, and we have our first photos, and Entertainment Weekly is doing what they do and have posted their first images from
this is Netflix, correct?
This is on Netflix.
So they have to do the whole season to pop it all on at once.
Correct. So on Kevin Smith's page, pull it up here, Kevin Smith.
You follow at Live Action SW? Oh, sorry, I was.
So Kevin Smith made a post today. Oh, good, Colin, can you bring that over here? A drink, thank you. They probably can't see you. You want to wave? Say hi. There's Colleen. She exists.
I'm here.
She does exist.
Nice to meet you. I'm John.
I have to go clean the house because Colky is.
All right, go clean then. Bye. All right. So Kevin Smith on his Instagram today, by the power of Grayskull, Mattel and Netflix released 10 images and announced the premiere date for the Eternian epic we've been concocting. Masters of the Universe Revelation. Even did you not get the tag right? Masters is it. The series is a 2-part story with the 5-episode part 1 debuting on July 23rd. So part 1 is 5 episodes, premieres on the 23rd. Nothing here about when the rest of it will come out. Oh
my gosh, he talks so much.
I know, he makes the longest damn post.
He has to do that in Word and then copy and paste, like airdrop it to his phone.
Because eventually you run out of space to type in Instagram. But it's Kevin Smith, so he's like over the moon about this stuff. So a lot of the images posted here, but I think the actual reveal here on Entertainment Weekly kind of gave us our biggest views. And honestly, I think it looks really good. What's your impressions here?
Well, first of all, it looks like they're using kind of classic character design somewhat. I mean, they're obviously updated. The thing that stood out to me was these jungles of Eternia. Mm-hmm. They're so lush and full of color, and it looks like a blacklight poster. And that's the stuff I was like, ooh, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like that picture right here. Like, look at the flowers and and the leaves and everything so bright and colorful. Like, that's what I think of when I think of He-Man, because I grew up on the 80s show, and everything was that Filmation, colorful backgrounds, and real fantasy, sort of heavy metal magazine style of art, where they mixed this weird like sword and sorcery stuff with like laser guns and vehicles. And I always liked the fact that you could have like this crazy jungle background and then a futuristic tank flying through. So all of this stuff, all of this fantasy looking stuff is really cool. The colors really pop. He-Man looks cool. He's like really big and bulky, whereas Prince Adam looks kind of wimpy, which is nice because I feel like the character desigin in the 80s show, in the Filmation show, Prince Adam looked just like He-Man, just wearing a vest. I like this.
And that's a carryover from the 2000X cartoon where he was small. Like Prince Adam was like, a teenager. Much more in the Billy Batson Captain Marvel mold, which Filmation kind of copied a little bit for their version of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And so I think there's been a few comments here in the comment section from everybody about how it kind of blends the two. It kind of has some of the at least it's seemingly some of the best of what the 2000 cartoon did, and what the original cartoon had. And I think Dan Nash says it well here. I'm seriously digging this amalgamation of classic and 2000X. I sincerely hope for much more than what is planned.
Right.
Good point. You never know with Netflix how well it's going to be taken. But you know, if the fan demand is there, I'm sure it can do well. Boeing 80 says looks like Avatar, Last Airbender. You know,
okay, I see that.
Go ahead.
Because I was going to say that the backgrounds remind me of Avatar, the James Cameron movie. they got that kind of day. Oh yeah, look at that one of Tila.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah, see that's
Sarah Michelle Gellar is Tila. What?
That's cool.
She looks.
Now, are they? Okay, so if you get a name like Kevin Smith, you're clearly thinking comedy because that's basically what he does. He's done a couple of horror movies, but is he doing this like straight? Like, is it going to be like just a straight up adventure show? I mean, I feel like there's got to be some sort of comedy element to it, but the images we see all look so sort of serious.
But his comics are serious, right? Like his run on Batman, and like they're not Kevin Smith, they're not schmod.
But that's the thing is it's like I feel like Netflix is really pushing sort of the Kevin Smith angle on it. So I don't know if they're trying to
they're just selling
prepared for something.
Yeah.
Like I think there will be humor in it. There's got to be.
Oh, sure. I'm sure there's humor, but I don't think it's going to be like over the top Kevin Smith Clerks humor. I think, you know, they're using Kevin Smith's nerd or geek street cred to kind of give it that. Right. I mean, they're going all out on this just in terms of the cast. You have Mark Hamill as Skeletor. Kevin Michael Richardson is Beastman. I mean, it's a stacked cast. Alan Oppenheimer, who did the voice of Skeletor, I mean, famously has done the voice of Skeletor, is doing the voice of Mossman.
Mossman looks cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool. And then Orko is Griffin Newman, Andra is Tiffany Smith, Tila, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Roboto, Justin Long is doing Roboto.
That's funny.
Mac and PC fame. All right, that's Justin Long.
All right.
Lynn is Lena Headey.
So what I think is great about it, I think you mentioned the cast, is I watched Invincible, you watched Invincible. Like one of the highlights of Invincible is the voice acting. And I have a feeling because of COVID, a lot of actors were able to work from home and do this voice acting. So you're getting these animated series with these amazing casts. Orko looks amazing. Yeah. Orko looks so cool. Like I like all these designs. I think Tila looks great.
Yep.
I'm not sure who that is next to Tila.
It's a new character, Andra. I don't, unless I'm missing a character, but I don't know her. But cool, new character.
Right,
bringing some diversity.
Evelyn looks cool. Evelyn hanging out with these guys.
Yeah, that's an interesting twist.
Right.
And I love like how like muscular they are. They're just like they're really like could eat the crap out of you, which I think is really cool.
I like this design of Tila a lot.
I really like the design of Tila as well. The fact that you know him as Mac and PC is strange to me. It's Justin Long. It's like, well, I worked for Apple for a long time, and I think that's maybe why.
Yeah, I think you're just trying to correlate it with Roboto, or
it's true. That's what I did. That's what I meant. Alias Angel Alias Angel Alias. Wow, this is such a win. I agree. I think it's great. Weird Fantastic Toy Adventure says Kevin said this will be a straight up sequel to the Filmation series.
Cool. I feel like a lot of humor will come through Orko, even though Orko looks a little more serious. It doesn't look as goofy.
Well, and I think again, if they're kind of bridging the gap here between 2000X and the original series, The Orko, while still being the comedic relief, wasn't as like over the top annoying as he was in the original one.
Orko was never annoying. Never.
Come on.
I loved Orko.
Orko is not as bad as Snarf, but that doesn't say much.
Right. But I'll tell you, T-Bob is the best. I was rewatching Mask. I was rewatching Mask, and thanks again for that.
Oh yeah.
But I was surprised how not annoying T-Bob was.
So here's my question to you and maybe to the audience here. Mark Hamill, a legendary voice actor. I know Pop Actor said a couple times, I think right here, I wish they'd given voice actors the work instead, which I understand that. And I respect that viewpoint because, I do think sometimes using celebrity casting, something Disney did as part of their renaissance. And I know for voice actors, there's frustrations there.
It can be distracting.
Huh?
It can be a little bit distracting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because Mark Hamill's in Invincible as well, and I kept thinking Mark Hamill the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But
but do you think that when you're watching Batman in the animated series, I don't think Mark Hamill.
Right. But I feel like it took me so long to recognize that Mark Hamill was the Joker. Because I only knew him as Luke Skywalker. But now, since I know him as the Joker, I hear that voice and other things. And I feel like Skeletor, is it going to sound like the Joker? I'm sure he's going to want to stray from the Joker, but my ears are going to be the judge. But,
Well, and the thing is, Alan Oppenheimer's interpretation of the character is so iconic. Like, it is so ingrained into everyone's perception of the character. Every parody uses the Alan Oppenheimer "Curse you, He-Man." It uses that tone, that feel.
Because I feel like anybody that if Mark Hamill's gonna try to recreate that sort of Skeletor, it will sound like Joker. That's just me. So I can't wait to see a trailer. But yeah, that's my biggest thing. I'm afraid that the voice acting is going to get in the way. But what's funny is in Invincible, there's one voice actor who's not like a celebrity; it's a voice actor, and that's you mentioned Kevin Michael Richardson. He plays the Mahler twins on that show, and he's using the same voice as he did for Kilowog in the Green Lantern in the animated series. And so I'm like, oh shoot, what is he going to do for Beastman? Is it going to be...
Well, if he did Kilowog and he's doing Beastman, it's probably going to be pretty similar, right?
I know, that's the thing. And I'm like, I've watched the Green Lantern in the animated series all the way through at least 10 times. And so I associated that voice with Kilowog. So... we'll see. But his other voices, like on the Cleveland show and stuff like that, doesn't sound like Kilowog at all. So fingers crossed. That'll be distracting, and I'm really interested to see how Mark Hamill sounds.
Agreed. Dartherian, I'm sorry, I want to say Mr. Hootie Dean. I'm not worried about Mark because he killed it as Chucky in Child's Play. No pun intended.
I haven't seen that. So that's good to know.
Yep. Mark Hamill is a killer voice actor among other voice actors.
Right.
Jake Rivers says, I hope it's a fusion of Oppenheimer and Joker.
Right.
And Mark Hamill posted on his social media today since the images were unveiled. And Jake Rivers says, I feel like Mark Hamill does more voice work than acting, though. He really does.
Yeah.
Post, was it the Trickster on Flash? It was pretty much all voice acting, right?
Right.
Weird Fantastic Toys says Mark will do a great job as Skeletor. So again, Austin Wave or Austin WWE, been watching for a while and finally caught alive. Well, hey, welcome to the show. And Dartherian says Sarah Michelle Gellar has voice acted. To me, it depends. Like even when the DuckTales show, the reboot came out, it's pretty much all a complete celebrity cast. And I know a lot of people, and even including the original people that perform the characters, like a guy who does the voice of Launchpad, was kind of upset that they didn't go with them. But I love that show, and I thought the voice acting was amazing in it. So I do see both sides of that, and I can understand some upset. But I think we'll have to wait and hear how it turns out. I'm with you. Mark Hamill's Joker voice seems to be it's variants of the Joker voice. And so I'll be really curious to see how he approaches Skeletor.
Yeah.
And seeing how that works out, especially when you have Alan Oppenheimer as Mossman in the show.
Right. It seems like for the most part, Kevin Smith has just invited a lot of his friends to come play.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of these guys, even Kevin Michael Richardson did voices on the Clerks animated series. So he's done stuff for Kevin Smith and obviously Mark Hamill. And I don't know about Sarah Michelle Gellar, but Justin Long has.
Yeah.
So, hey, he wants to hang out with his friends, go for it.
Yeah. No,
if Netflix is going to let him do it, go for it.
Yep. Stephen H says, I would love to see a new character or two introduced on this show. I think on the last slide with Tila, and I think I can't blank on her name, but clearly a new character. Andra. So that's cool. Some people said they didn't like the muscly ladies here, but I think it's really cool. I mean, I think why do the dudes need to be roided up? Like, I don't know. Let the ladies be really buff. I don't think there's a problem with that.
Yeah, I always thought of Tila as being strong.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think these designs are really cool. Especially, look at these guys. Look at Beastman and Mossman.
Oh,
like, they look like hulking behemoths.
I love it.
So, I mean, you have some muscle to go head to head with these guys.
Yep. And I think Justin kind of has a counter to the Mark Hamill Skeletor. They should have let Alan Oppenheimer keep doing Skeletor. It's a slap in the face to that dude. It's like asking Peter Cullen to step aside. What's your thoughts there? Because I would agree that Skeletor's voice, Alan Oppenheimer's Skeletor, is on the same par as, Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime. And it's always Peter Cullen, or generally it's Peter Cullen.
Right.
What's your thoughts around that? Like, should the Skeletor voice be on that same level? Or because maybe it hasn't been as much in the, cultural zeitgeist, no movies or anything like that like Transformers has had, that maybe it doesn't have as much weight behind it. I don't know.
I think it comes down to the tone of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this Beastman. Like, this looks like a more serious Beastman than what we got on the show. So it could be a tone issue. Doing a show that's probably maybe a little bit more serious, or maybe has like a grander fantasy element to it than your classic He-Man, where it's, just a standalone each episode's, just punching in bad puns and stuff. Maybe they really wanted a really strong voice for Skeletor, and the Oppenheimer voice just didn't kind of gel with the material. The fact that they still have him in the show means that they obviously love and respect him and his work with He-Man, but it's probably just not right for this project. I'm fine with it. I mean, you got to cast to, people's strengths and
sure. And there's talks here too. He is getting up there in age. I think somebody said he's 90 years old. So maybe it's just hard to do that voice still,
Right.
So maybe it's kind of passing the baton, so to speak. Dartherian, to your Kilowog comment, Kmart usually does the deep Kilowog voice, but his Joker on the Batman was interesting. So,
right.
Justin says he doesn't understand how this is a continuation of the original 80s show, but Mr. Hootie Dean says it's a sequel that picks up after the Filmation series, but they said something about decades later. So potentially you can do like one of those jump forward type things.
Right. There was the He-Man in the 90s, I think, where he was skinny and flying around in spaceships.
That was the New Adventures of He-Man.
Right. So I think what they're saying is
it'll happen after that.
More of the Filmation stuff, less of the other stuff. Like Bryan Singer made his Superman Returns, and he said, "Okay, this takes place after Superman 2. I don't want you guys thinking about Superman 3, and definitely not Superman 4." So I think it's Netflix saying, "Hey, listen, this is kind of where we're setting it, is after this stuff happened." So it's building off
that. Jones, you're old school Shinobi? I didn't know that. I missed that if you said it before, because he was talking on the show last week. Anyways, old school, you can't just change your name like that. It's throwing me off. But Diamond says there's a prequel comic miniseries coming out from Dark Horse Comics, which might fill in the gaps. And the thing, too, is the New Adventures of He-Man is part of the canon of the Filmation show, because it basically, continued the story. Like, he went onto space to go after Skeletor from, being on Eternia. So it'd be interesting to see if this also includes the New Adventures as part of its canon.
I would say think of this as like Rogue One. Like, they're just letting you know, like, okay, this is the time period it takes place in. So after Filmation, I think that's kind of what they're going for. Like, it's just letting you know, kind of where we are in the timeline as far as He-Man goes.
Yep. The return of Plendor, the bunny rabbit character. T Ponder referenced that. Let's hope Plendor makes an appearance. I need a big purple bunny. Pop Actor says, I thought this was a 2002 continuation. No, it is not. It's a continuation from the Filmation show, but clearly they've pulled some influences from the 2000X show. It definitely has much more of that look than the Filmation's cartoon, but it still is the classic appearance versus the more hyper, look of very, extreme look of the characters from that original show.
Yeah, and I like that He-Man's wearing the battle damage sort of chest plate.
It
feels more battle damage, right?
Yeah, the battle armor Skeletor or He-Man had the H on there, versus the Iron Cross, I believe.
I'd like to see a reference to that. I'd like to see that get punched and get damaged.
Or just have the battle armor. Just actually at some point wear the battle armor for battle armor. He-Man.
And then Kevin Smith likes his deep cuts. I kind of want to see a reference to the Dolph Lundgren movie that Cannon did. Like, I don't know how. Maybe a character. Maybe that weird sort of musical instrument thing that
the key, the
cosmic haywire.
Cosmic key. Yeah, I mean, I think it should all be in play. Right? Like, it should all be in play. I think in terms of maybe some reference to the movie, there's a character Skelegod that we've seen in the action figure images. And Jager says it looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh monster. But that is kind of similar to the final look of Skeletor, Langella Skeletor from the Dolph Lundgren movie. Stephen H. says the 2000X show is more of an origin series that explained a lot of the backstories of the characters. Agreed. I think it's something that the 2000X series did really well, is where it kind of gave the backstory of Skeletor, how he was originally Keldor, and then his face was burned off. And like, it did so much to that I loved in the 2000X series. And if this is continuation Filmations, that means it's not going to do, or it's just going to jump in to the story. And maybe if it is 20 years later, whatever it is, I don't think that's going to be the case because Prince Adam still looks pretty young. But whatever, however that shakes out, I don't know. It seems like it's going to drop you right into the thick of it. Why is He-Man's body so big and his head so small? It's called steroids, I believe. That make your head look small.
He has the power. It reminds me of that's a better perspective. It reminds me of Altered Beast. After you get the third orb or the second orb and you're super giant with the tiny head. He's just got rippling muscles.
Oh, sorry. We're Fantastic Toy Adventure. It's called a Maltese cross, not an Iron Cross. Thank you for the clarification. And then let's see. Adam Smedberg asks, do you think they extend this out past the planned 2 parts? I think we talked about a little bit in the beginning there. I think it just depends on how well this show does, like how many people stream the show. You know, is it a show that Netflix sees as, you know, eyes watching their screen? I you know, that for these streaming services, that's all they care about. They don't care if it's good, bad, whatever. They just care that people are watching it.
Right.
And so they probably have some set algorithm, some set, you know, threshold they want their shows to be at. And if a show is there, they'll keep funding it to make another one. But there is a threshold where eventually, like, even if it maybe is popular to a certain extent, they'll still cancel it at 3 seasons or something like that. It's very rare for Netflix to keep making seasons of a show. Stranger Things might be one of the few exceptions to get past season 3, right?
And that was like a phenomenon. So this has to be like a phenomenon for them to like keep moving forward.
I think so. But again, I'm sure, you know, live action shows might be more expensive than these animated shows.
Maybe.
So Gizmo says, I wish the sword was more Filmation. It's different for sure. It's a lot thinner. It's more of just a straight up sword,
right? Than
maybe, you know, the toys or.
I mean, He-Man's so gigantic.
Yeah, he is. Like, especially this right here, just like it's a brick wall.
Well, I mean, here's the thing is, like, he has the sword of power, and it gives him power. You know,
yeah.
So they want to portray that as the biggest guy you can find. So yeah, I like it.
How long did Voltron go for? Is it over? Is it still going on?
I have no idea.
Dorothy, and if you let us know how long those go for. I hope Otis the Bulldog, I hope they do a Killer flashback or something. That'd be great, because there is something, again, the 2000X series did really well. It was all the backstories. I think the Keldor story is a really good one. Would love to see them get there.
You want to pop up? I was going to say, you want to pop up Sam Newsman's
or Sam
message? Oh,
where'd it go?
631 Sam Newsman.
Oh.
He asks, will it be woke? Now, here's the thing. At the end of every He-Man episode, you would get a lesson. And the lesson would teach you how to be a better person, how to be safer.
Yeah.
How to, you know, if you have a difficult time with friends, or if you have something that's on your mind, how to take care of it. So many things. How to eat right, how to treat people right, how to be safe. So, do we get that in this show? Do you think Kevin Smith would do that? Because he did it on Clark's animated series with Charles Barkley, Jay and Silent Bob, safety tips with Charles Barkley. And I mean, I feel like if anybody's going to do those sort of post episode lessons, Kevin Smith would want to do that.
And even the 2000X did that a little bit too. So I have no doubt.
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be considered woke, but I always loved any cartoon that did that. Like almost every 80s cartoon did it. G.I. Joe, Knowing's Half the Battle. He-Man did it. Mask did it. Like Dennis the Menace did it, I think. Like it's just in every. It was like some sort of thing where in the 80s, a TV show had to have some sort of educational value. And so they would take something from the episode, turn it into a life lesson to nail you over the head with it. And I always loved it. And I love the parody ones that they did on, what was that, like E-Bombs World or whatever, like the early days of the internet, where they took the G.I. Joe ones and redubbed them into goofy stuff like pork chop sandwiches and all that stuff. So I'm hoping, and it might be funny if it was more woke, you know, if they did those PSAs.
Those He-Man lessons are my Bible for Otis the Bulldog.
Right.
Dan Mash said, by woke to being politically correct, I personally don't see anything wrong with having everybody at the table. I agree. I think more inclusive to all people, I think, is a good thing, right? And I think this is not new. This is, you know, you brought in characters like Clamp Champ to be more inclusive to everybody, so that anybody that is a fan of He-Man could see themselves in a character. And I think
more characters means more toys.
Yes, exactly. So
so bring them on.
I do not see a problem with that. I don't think it has to be controversial. I don't think it has to be one side or another side. I think it's just for any kid growing up to see themselves in a superhero character, I think is a good thing. And at no point do I think that's a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. And I want those PSAs. I really want those PSAs at the end. Like with that Orko music. Come on. Orko's. Did we ever play? Oh, I don't know if you want to do it or not.
I don't want to get. Listen, every time we've done it before, I play something, the video gets shut down on it.
I know.
Don't want to do it.
Everybody look up the Spanish language version of the He-Man theme, which has lyrics apparently, but they're in Spanish. We were talking about starting an episode with that theme, with the Spanish language version of the He-Man theme.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, if you guys haven't listened to this, just do a search when the show's over. Do a search for He-Man theme Spanish version, and it rocks so hard. It's so good.
It does.
Hopefully it'll make it into the show. Like I feel like that's what I would do with this show is like take some of the goofiness of the Filmation and kind of comment on it, but not, I don't know if I want it to be like a serious fantasy show or if I want it to be a little fourth wall breaking.
I think it's going to be more serious and fourth wall breaking personally.
Yeah,
how they're saying the first episode of Revelation begins and locks up with the old show Smith mentions. Then about halfway through, things take a shift, which allows all the characters to go through these periods of growth. So the shift must be some type of like time jump or something.
I don't know. Like I only watched the Filmation series and I watched a little bit of the 2000 series, but
because
like being a sort of a wimpy kid, which nowadays we could associate with kids who being bullied and stuff, but all of a sudden immediately getting power and like a ton of power. How does that affect him?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you think he'll get into that sort of territory where it's like, I have all this power, but should I use it or how should I use it? Am I abusing it?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really interesting because I mean, I've never been a super buff dude. And if I became as buff as He-Man, like what's going through my head? I think that would be interesting to explore, but maybe not too much. I don't know.
Yeah. Funny stuff can be saved for the later kid Motus because there is going to be another Motu show that is more kid focused. And then this quote here, a hero who has to live under deception in order to protect those he loves, but it's how that deception rots at the core. So that seems pretty heavy stuff.
So there's going to be that kind of, with great power comes great responsibility.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are with you on the Spanish version of it. The Spanish version
awesome.
of the lyrics
so
rock.
Good.
It's sung by Captain Mimo, a Chilean singer that made other themes like 60 Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, etc.
It's so good. It's so good. I have a He-Man album soundtrack and it's like a bonus track and it just popped up on my shuffle one day and it rocks so hard. I was like, oh my gosh.
All right. We're going to do it. I mean, it's probably not copyrighted, right?
Well, if it's on YouTube,
then this one?
Sure. I don't know.
This Verbo, man, they're out of control with their advertising.
I know. I always skip them, especially on Toy Geeks.
Let's see.
He-Man y los amos del universo.
This might just be the intro.
Yo soy Yada.
It's like
perfect.
It's like a whole song. Scroll up again. It might be that second one. I mean, it's got to be.
Yeah,
this is it. It's just, it'll kick in.
El universo ya está protegido por el poder Con secretos poderes, castillo, y man luchará hasta el final.
Huh? Like, the He-Man theme's great regardless, but I need to find the actual lyrics to this because He-Man the show didn't have lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So what is he saying that I need to brush up on my Spanish just to
Oh my God. So Justin asked the question, do you think it'll be violent? I think it will, but will it be invincible level violence? I don't think so.
That finale, did you watch the finale yet?
I have not seen it yet. I intend to.
It is the most violent episode. The most gory episode. Dude, watch it. It's so good.
It's been pretty gory so far, but that would.
Dude. No. It's so crazy. It won't get that violent. I don't think it'll be violent.
Stephen H., I would love to see a modern video game inspired by this new series. There's so much material from this franchise to put into a video game.
So I mentioned that I didn't really watch the 2000 series, but I did have a copy. A friend of mine gave it to me through his work. They were doing some press for it. There was a He-Man game for the Game Boy Advance, and it was one of those sort of top side views, like a Zaxxon.
Yeah,
but it was essentially you play as He-Man, and it was essentially Gauntlet. You have to go and find a key in a treasure chest, and then it opens the gate. You go to the next level. It is so fun. Check out that game, the Game Boy Advanced He-Man 2000s video game.
Everybody is dropping Mortal Kombat levels of gore. House of 1,000 Corpses, Devil Rejects of violence. Again, I think we're going too far.
Watch that last episode of Invincible. It is way more gory than Mortal Kombat.
Oh Lord. Pop Actor, I hope He-Man has his axe this time. I love the He-Man with the axe look versus the power sword. It doesn't look that way in the images so far, but I'm sure it'll be there eventually.
Yeah.
I think Moss Man's going to be neutral this time. That'll be interesting. I think it could the Mask comics level violence.
Oh, the Mask, based the Dark Horse series based on or they made the Jim Carrey movie out of it. Yeah, that comic's pretty.
Is it? I've never read it.
Dude, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're going to tone down the violence.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, like you look at what Netflix did with Voltron or She-Ra, like it had action. It definitely had action. It was action packed. I don't think it needs to be gory.
No.
I think it'll be fine. Oh my God.
I can see
human centipede violence. All right, you all are out of control. You're out of control with this. Speaking of neutral, will Zodak show up? Either or, Zodak with a C or a K, I'd be down for, because I love the cosmic enforcers. So I'd be totally down for that. Justin says, how did Kevin Smith even get involved in this project? I didn't know he was a Motu fan. Again, maybe the producers or Mattel's like, he's a geek. We'll get him to run it. That's right. I don't know. That's my guess.
Right. I think any kid who grew up in the 80s is a Motu fan.
True. That's true. It's one of those tent pole kid shows, right? G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man are the big three of the 80s. TMNT late 80s into the 90s.
Right.
Ghostbusters, maybe a lower tier there, but every person interacted with the show.
I had He-Man toys. I love He-Man.
The original comics of The Mask were amazing. I have every issue of every story, first printings at mint or near mint. I highly recommend them. I have. I knew of it, but I've never read it. Is it in collect? I'm guessing there's trade paperbacks of it.
I have it on a wish list. The omnibus. I think there's 3 omnibus on the Comixology app. I have on my wish list. I haven't pulled the trigger yet because I'm in the middle of reading other stuff. But I'm definitely interested. The artist Doug Mankey, I believe, went on to do some Green Lantern. So that kind of is what got me to go check it out. But yeah, the movie is definitely not the same as the comic. Yeah.
Dartharian says about Kevin Smith, I think he's a geek of all trades. I agree. He's got pretty good geek cred. Kind of the original cool geek, right? He's kind of like Clerks and Mallrats. Like he was the first popular Hollywood person that highlighted geek culture.
Right. I mean, there wasn't any movies talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't TV shows talking about Star Wars or, Jaws or whatever else they talked about. So
it is, I mean, can we definitively say that? Like he's the first popular Hollywood artist that actually highlighted geek culture. I can't think of anybody before him.
Yeah, I think Quentin Tarantino, I think it's A Hunt for October, where he wrote a couple of like Silver Surfer jokes in it. But Quentin Tarantino's kind of the same way. He does a lot of pop culture references. So, but that was around the same time as Clerks. So him, Robert Rodriguez, and kind of Quentin Tarantino sort of like embraced sort of stuff that he grew up with and started talking about him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so I get the choice of Kevin Smith here because he has the cred, he has the geek cred, and he's pretty good. Yes, there are the is it the Smodverse? Like what's his I'm blanking on what he called the Jay and Silent Bob movies.
View Askew-verse.
View Askew, thank you. View Askew-verse. Outside of those, he's done really good stuff in comics. I think he's done really good comic runs. And so I think he is primed to do a really good thing. And I think it's fair to say Tarantino did it first. Sure, absolutely. There's some Fantastic Four references in 91's Reservoir Dogs. Yes.
Right.
But it's something about Clerks and it went beyond. I don't know, like Tarantino was still cool, but like the way Kevin Smith dropped references, it felt like geek conversations
Quentin Tarantino would drop in references. Kevin Smith would have full conversations of dialogue about this stuff. Also, like if you don't have Kevin Smith, okay, let's say Kevin Smith didn't do this. Who would do it?
Yeah.
Like who else would do it? It could be just a thing where he was in a meeting with Netflix and they said, we have these projects that we're thinking of doing, and maybe He-Man caught his eye. Who knows? But I mean, they probably weren't seeking out like the biggest He-Man fan ever to do this, but they clearly saw something and he had a pitch for them on how he can, work with He-Man, and there you go. It's I don't like, my only concern with Kevin Smith doing it is it's going to be maybe there might be stuff that you see where you're like, oh, it's kind of weed humor or whatever, but I don't think, based on these images, it looks like he's doing it like a straight fantasy action He-Man show. So and then because it's him, any jokes in there might be really good jokes. So I mean, we'll know when we get a trailer, and we should get a trailer within the month or two. So
Phil Rodriguez says Kevin Smith definitely made it cooler to be a geek.
Right.
Otis said, did you see the Buzzsaw Hordak review? I have. It looks great. Can't wait to get it in hand. All music fans says Prince Adam is a young kid here. Pretty cool. I agree. I that's something I really dug about the 2000X cartoon is it, and I think Ralph brought up in the beginning of the show. It was just the differences between the two. It's very Billy Batson, Captain Marvel, which is really cool. Justin says Kevin Smith has not made a good movie in a while. I think that's fair, but I do think, again, I think Kuko-san says it well here. Kevin Smith's Daredevil Marvel Knights run is really good. And And so I think he can do a good job. Dan Ash, he's responding to Dan Ash. There was a fan film that more related to the comics, but I thought it was a bit too dark. And B-Man, I missed it. We did talk about it. I hope he added the life lessons at the end of each episode. I think they will. You have to. Everyone is right. I mean, I don't know about New Adventures. I can't remember, but I think Jay Muse has a voice, and of course Jay Muse is going to have a voice. He's going to do, I don't know, some brown gargoyle character or something. I don't know.
Merman?
Like, sure.
I can see him as a merman.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Lynch says, I'm sure we'll have a Netflix toy line for this. There already is. The images, pretty darn clear images dropped today along with all this news. They look much better than some of the first images we saw. We're going to talk about that in depth on Toy Geeks on Sunday with John. And excited to look into those. Question is, what's likely we get Jay and Silent Bob loitering outside Castle Grayskull? I have a feeling he's not going to be. He's not going to lean or wink too much at that stuff. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be self-referential. He might be referential to classic He-Man, or any He-Man.
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes for sure. All right. Just a couple other quick things. We're coming up at the end of our hour here tonight. Great discussion, though. Really lively discussion.
We'll talk about the trailer, I'm sure, when that drops.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
If Motu gets you guys in here, cool. We'll keep doing Motu every week.
I did want to dig in this art a little bit. We don't have too much time, but this was on IGN today. Why John Walker is the Falcon and Winter Soldier's best character. Do you agree with that clickbaity statement?
Sure. I mean, I think it's exciting because he's a new character, and this is sort of where they were able to, like, we already know of Bucky and Sam. So this is a continuation of a story arc from the movies. So since John Walker started on this show, they were really able to showcase him as a character and sort of flesh him out for the show and kind of create him from scratch. And I think it was great.
Baron Zemo was great too. I'm kind of with Jay here. Weird Fantastic is not enough. Thanks for a great discussion today, Weird Fantastic. I thought Zemo was cool.
Right.
But I can't disagree too much that John Walker did have the more compelling story. Like it did more. He got to do more.
Right. And I like that. I liked sort of the way he presents himself in public as Captain America, and how he believes that because he's Captain America, he should get some sort of, perks, or people should respect him more because he has it. And then I like that juxtaposed to him, his private life, where he was like self-doubting. I thought that was all really cool. And his sort of personal struggle. I think that the writers kind of latched onto this character a little bit more because they could create him and do whatever they want with him, as opposed to, Bucky's established, Sam is established. So it was really cool to see someone get molded. Even Zemo was set up in Civil War.
Yeah.
So you kind of already knew where he was coming from. So yeah, I think I might like John the most. He's a prick, but it's a compelling character.
Exactly. Just because, you maybe rooting against him or like screw this guy, but that's still a compelling character. Bad guys can be compelling characters, or in between characters can be compelling characters.
Right. What's great about it is you hate him right off the bat, and he'll do some stuff, but then later they'll tell you, he'll like kind of say why he did it. And you're like, you don't completely hate him. You kind of root for him. I feel like at the end of the day, that Winter Soldier and Falcon are going to win and save the day.
Yep.
And with John, you're like, is he the kind of guy I want to save the day? And he's trying his hardest, but he's just not Captain America. And so he's got this huge sort of shadow of Steve Rogers. But he's willing to do it because he loves his country and he's going to do it for his country.
Yeah.
I found him super compelling. I think he's a really great character. And it's funny going through the series and following him and just being like, you know, I want to hate you, but you're making it tough to hate you. It should be really easy to hate him, but
agreed.
He feels regret. He feels remorse. He wants the world to be a better place, but he's been trained by a government and a system that is, you know, not completely on his side.
He feels used, right? He feels used. He feels like, I did the things you asked me to do.
Yeah.
I was a good soldier, right? That's very much a compelling storyline that exists in reality, right? Like, I did what you asked me for. I was a good soldier. So why are you abandoning me now?
Right.
I can't disagree that, that, you know, and maybe because he did get to like have his whole story play out in this series,
right?
Like your point versus the other characters made him more compelling.
Right.
A lot of Nagli and Bruglia references today. Dimo Joe's says Natalie Bruglia is voicing a new character called Tramp Stamp.
Sweet.
Bring back Nat 2021.
What is happening in the chat?
Natalie and Bruglia, man, it just brings out the best and the worst.
So real quick, I just want to bring this up because we haven't talked about the finale, and the week before the finale, we kind of discussed the show and sort of predictions and kind of what we wanted to see. I had mentioned there that the thing I liked about the show was that it didn't hit you over the head with the social commentary, but much like John Walker, you kind of understand like, oh, what he's going through is like real life. Like you kind of understand these things and you kind of figure it out. And I like that the show didn't hit these, hit you over the head with these sort of storylines. They weren't, you know, but the speech,
you thought it was
the finale
too hokey?
It was the biggest hammer hitting me in the head with all the stuff that I already picked up along the way. They were so nice and subtle with their messages. It was so perfect. And I'm like, man, this show is so great because it's so subtle and it's not hitting me over the head with these messages of how the world should be. And it's perfect because one person can view John Walker one way and someone else could view him a different way. Someone say, oh, he's a hero. He's a, you know, whatever. But that ending where Falcon is literally saying, are you listening to me, senators? Like, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys pull it back. Just pull it. You were doing so well. But I got to say that Captain America outfit for Sam is awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
I didn't mind it so much. I don't mind heavy-handed. I don't care. Whatever.
Right. But we all knew
yes,
it.
We all knew it was already there. Anybody watching it got the message, and I think it's a good message. And it does, to me, it's more of like this is when it's that over the top. It makes it a little hokey. Maybe it kind of lessens the impact a little bit.
Right.
But outside of that, I thought it was a good finale. It set things.
I love the series.
Love the series. I agree. He's Cap now. Put some respect on it. Yeah, I agree. Like watching that finale, I was like, okay, he's Captain America. Like,
and they're doing Captain America 4, and it's gonna star him. I can't wait.
Yep, I agree. I think it's gonna be really cool. Last bit of things here. Because not having conventions, not having Comic-Con, but now that the world is getting more vaccinated, I think CDC today said if you're fully vaccinated, you can like go inside without a mask.
Right.
Big news today. But you know, there's something to the whole like at least this was the first season that I didn't get the flu or didn't get sick because I wore a mask into places. And so there might be something to go into these conventions, and I've been to Comic-Con for 17 years now. Every year I get sick because you're packed in like sardine cans of people. So there might be something to like, I don't know, wearing a mask when you're in those big halls with a bajillion people. But anyway.
Just dress as Lando as Jabba's guard.
Yeah, exactly. But so they have moved up Star Wars Celebration.
So excited.
August to May 2022. You currently reside in Anaheim, California.
And I have tickets.
So did your tickets move up and go to? Yeah,
you had the option of getting a full refund or keeping them. And if you kept them, they sent you these. I had a billion of them, and now I don't have any of them. They were this. Hold on. So it's cool Stormtrooper Pin. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
So I got 4 of these because I have 4 tickets. I have 2 for Saturday, or 2 for Friday, 2 for Saturday. Sunday I'm going to Disneyland to Galaxy's Edge. But it's I'm excited because this is my first celebration. I've never been.
You haven't been to one yet.
I know. There's a while where
native.
I know.
Born and raised.
Right. I can't give an explanation why it hasn't happened.
San Diego native, born and raised. And while I did not go to San Diego Comic-Con until I moved away, I have now been many a time, thanks to you, Ralph. You convinced me 15, 16 years ago to go.
Back when it was fun.
It was fun back then.
It was really fun back then.
It was really good. Not
so
to be
many less
old
people.
Man yelling at the clouds, but like before the twilight era of Comic-Con, it was a lot of fun.
Right.
San Diego Comic-Con has been better the past few years. Didn't happen last year, but San Diego Comic-Con has been better. I would say the past maybe few years. It has not been as bad as that late 2010, maybe not 2011, 2012, that kind of 2012 through maybe 2015, where it just got absurd.
Right. And yeah, it's in Anaheim, which is where I live, but it's also 2022. So we've made plans to move. So I don't, who knows?
Again, if you've thought about maybe moving here to Raleigh, we go to San Diego Comic-Con every year, so you can still go.
Right. I know we can still go, but I think it's funny that it's
right.
It was supposed to happen last year.
It was.
And it didn't, and it got pushed for 2 years. But I am glad it moved to May. As you know, May 25th is Star Wars Day. And this is what the 20.
But they're doing it. What day they select?
Like the week after. It's like the 28th, 29th, or something.
Yeah, 26th.
Oh, May 26th. So preview night. If they have some sort of preview night, we can all celebrate on May 25th, the 40 whateverth anniversary of Star Wars, and the 5th anniversary of Solo. And I'm excited, dude. I've been waiting. I was ready to go.
The more things like this come back, the better. I know they're doing Comic-Con Thanksgiving this year, which is weird. I don't know about going to that. I definitely want to do PowerCon just to kind of get my sea legs back on the convention circuit, but
it's gonna be big.
Riley Bob, the commie cough is real. It's very true. Again, if you've been to like one of the bigs, especially San Diego Comic-Con, you are literally packed with hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh, I thought you were going to say hundreds and thousands of smells.
Well, that too, because there's Jay Griffiths. The lack of deodorant should be deterrent enough, to be honest. Pop actor, that Peter Griffin person, guys. There's a lot of those people there. Remember Unemployed Skeletor? Remember him? He was around in the early days. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
They should sell deodorant made of action figures. Again, 1 year, Mattel, I can't remember which year it was, but it was in the heyday of Masters of the Universe Classics. They gave out Moss Man deodorant. And
that's hilarious.
It was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, swag giveaway any company did, because they literally gave. I still have mine around here somewhere. They literally gave away deodorant to con attendees.
I wouldn't mind
a Mossman scented. It was amazing.
I'd like a Mossman scented candle. Mossman smells great.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Ram Man doing work. There you go, because it kind of pops open. That's a good idea. Yeah. Dan Matches, I just want to say I love this channel. This is my zen at the end of the work week for sure. So thank you so much, Dan. It's very kind of you to say.
Yeah.
Riley Bob agreed. This crew is the best. Thank you, Riley Bob. It's very kind.
Yeah.
Pop actor, I want Stinkor to like Stinkor is patchouli, so isn't that like what all like the hippies use?
I don't know.
Right?
I never liked Stinkor.
No,
I don't like the smell of Stinkor.
I'm an eBay that deodorant. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I had a few extras and I definitely eBayed those. But God, that was like 10 years ago or something. It was a while ago. It was it was maybe 2010, 2011, something like that.
Yeah.
Diamond Jones, here to Dan Ash and Riley Bob's comments. But anywho, all right, Ralph. I think it's a good place to call it today. Great show tonight. Lively chat. YouTube put the links out there. It's one of the more popular Screen Geeks that we've had.
Yeah, just from the chat combo alone, I could tell something's a little bit different. So next week we'll talk about more Motu.
There you go. Bullwinkle 80. Very fair question, Jay. Where is the flocked versus stocked review? That is a great question, Bullwinkle. So I had a really big presentation to deliver today for my real job professional career. That really I had to put all of my creative energy into really nailing this presentation. So I had to not focus on really doing any reviews or anything, because that takes up a lot of creative energy or time after my kids go to sleep. So all the reviews I do is really once the kids go to sleep by 8 o'clock, and then I have a couple hours to get stuff done. So I had to use that time to do this work thing, but I have finished that today. So now I can get back to the fun stuff, like the flocked versus stocked. I have it planned out in my head, and look forward to making that video and posting up on the channel. But I do apologize, outside of the live shows, which don't require much work because it's really hanging out with you all and having a fun conversation. My video reviews, I did not get much time to do this week, or really any time, because I had to do real work stuff that pays the bills, keeps the lights on, and makes sure that the wife and kids are taken care of. So anyways, hopefully you will see that very, very soon. What about Stump Ralph? I think that's where Ralph, I don't know if you've seen, we do something called Stump John, where we quiz him on his very encyclopedic knowledge of toys. Maybe we should do one maybe for you, but maybe TV shows or other geekery. You're very well versed in a lot of deep cut stuff. Yeah, if you want, pick a subject and ask me questions. You are probably the most famous for being VHS dude, arguably. Right. Which is a lot of deep cut, weird VHS crap. So you know your stuff. Right. Let me know. If you want to pop quiz me next week, I'll do it. Jiggers, I feel like it's damn near impossible to stump Ralph. Oh, I'm sure. Like, I don't know like half the He-Man characters. Because I watched it when I was a kid, which was a very long time ago. Well, let's do this. geekdadlife@gmail.com is the email. And the way we will try to see if we can stump Ralph is maybe pick any VHS tape cover. Send a picture and see if you, and I'll block the title if there's a title. That's tough. Okay. You can pick out what the movie is just based on the art of the VHS cover. Okay, I think I'd be able to do it.
But I'm really afraid because there's like a billion tapes out there.
There's a billion tapes. You know a lot of them.
Like designer sweatshirts with Mary Millar.
So people are interested in this, so that's a great gameplay. So yeah, send your pictures of a VHS cover, and we will do Stump Ralph based on those VHS covers. Yeah, there you go. Dymo Jones has a massive VHS collection. Well, Dymo, formerly known as Old School,
Mr. He-Man clicks, says VHS top 3 build cast members of Lady Hawk. I'm assuming Rutger Hauer, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Matthew Broderick. I'm assuming. I can't imagine anyone else slipping in there, and that's probably the same order too.
There must be rules. I will basically crop out if there is the title of the movie. I'll just keep it to the art, and Ralph will have to pick out what the movie title is.
Right. All right.
So there you go. Send in your pictures to geekdadlife@gmail.com. Once again, it's geekdadlife@gmail.com. Next Thursday at 9 o'clock to close out the show, we will have the first ever Stump Ralph.
Sounds good.
See what we can do. All right. Timo says, ding, 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 ding. I do happen to have a Lady Hawk VHS at hand. So that just show Ralph's chops here.
All right.
Got chops.
That was Richard Donner directed that. Director of Goonies and Superman the movie.
Woo! Look, he just keeps going. He-Man, I'm pleased.
Listen, guys, I love Lady Hawk. And
all right. Well, that'll do it for this episode. We'll see you all next time. I swapped out the song for something else, so I apologize. But until
get that new song,
hasta luego and goodbye.
Bye.